Welcome to Insight Builder channel and another video that is going to supercharge your NLP journey. Diving into TxtAI, the library that is the engine of NLP workflows. Building pipelines, workflows, and RDBMS for embedding vectors. You must be wondering, okay, where is RDBMS coming in vector embedding? So before you start getting really curious, let me start sharing the process that we are going to follow in this video. In case of TxtAI, the embedding data and querying the index is made extremely intuitive. You'll be seeing that process in a moment. So the process of creating the embedding. Okay, so first of all, let us think about it. What will an embedding require? So embedding will require a text, and there should be a way to convert that text or that data into a vector store, right? This particular library brings these things together in a very intuitive fashion. So why I say it intuitive? Because the embedding itself, the embedding variable or the embedding instance is instantiated using the function that you are going to use for creating the vector stores. And then what you do is actually send in the text or send in the data into that embedding instance. So this is very much similar to how you have seen in other libraries, but here you can actually bring in you can have other methods like loading index, reading index, and also saving index. All those kinds of additional methods has been incorporated into this. As I already mentioned, you can work with not just text alone, you can work with audio, images, video. So working with audio, images, and video is not simple as working with text, because see, for text what you need to do is take the text, read it as a file, and then split it and then start sending it into the embedding pipeline, correct? However, in case of audio and images, you need to do some kind of processing. So that's where the workflows and the pipelines that is part of TxtAI comes into picture. This particular video will not look into those aspects, but in the future I will be working on those. In a couple of videos I will be sharing those concepts also. Coming to the embedding index itself, by default, the index format that is followed by TxtAI is FIES, and you will see that it is a very simple way of creating indexes using FIES, and we can read it also. And this index can be connected with the pipelines and as well as with the workflows without much of an hassle. Multiple flows are already coded, so multiple pipelines and flows are already coded inside TxtAI itself, and their source model are also by default created. No, it's not created basically. So the models are taken from Hugging Face Hub, but the link to those models are already embedded into the workflows. Finally, the pipelines and workflows can be built with either Python or YAML. So I will be primarily concentrating on Python related building only. I have not really delved into a YAML format, but yeah, YAML format is also available. So this is something which is different with respect to other libraries that I have seen till now. So yeah, this is one of the points I wanted to update. Okay, if you visit TxtAI GitHub as I showed yesterday, you would have been really got overwhelmed by the number of examples the library has got. So once you review the examples, so there are 40 different examples. But to a beginner, the person who is trying to learn about this library, the person who is trying to master the NLP basics and trying to automate the basic stuff like creating indexing, working with the indexing, using the language models like Flan, Google Flan, etc., or Alpaca model, and trying to create kind of a prompt related question answering setup, etc. You don't need all those 40 examples to be mastered. So these are the examples that you need to concentrate to begin with. Okay, so I've listed the examples directly here, so you can review it by your own time, and you can take it forward also, take forward your learning. I will also be working with these examples in detail, but as I always do, when I work with the examples, I actually break it. So what I mean by break it, I don't follow the flow that is given in the example. So I try to include a new kind of a data. I try to include a new kind of a flow altogether. So you will be seeing in a couple of minutes how I change the the building and embedding index. So this is an index that TxtAI guys actually show how to build, but I bring in LangChain library. I try to bring in PyPDF and try to show you how you can implement those things. The point is that understanding how the libraries work is more important than actually mastering them. So first and foremost, you have to understand it, right? For understanding, you have to break the examples, and then you can understand it fastly. With that said, these are the various basic examples you have to cover. Just read through them. You can take a collab. So also all these examples have a collab link attached with it. So you can go to that TxtAI GitHub page, and you will see that all the examples have a collab environment link to it. Just click on it and start practicing with that. That's something that I would urge you guys to do it. Now, in this discussion that we are having, the key topics will be working on embedding databases. So actually, the word is misleading. So what we are going to do is we are going to create vector embeddings of text data, and we are going to place it inside the indexes, right? So after we place it inside the indexes, we can query those indexes as if it is a database. I hope that you guys understood what this means. So embedding databases is not what initially the English is trying to say. We are not going to embed any kind of databases into vector stores. No. So this is basically creating databases that holds the vector embeddings. So I hope that you understood the English challenge that we are having. Anyway, so now coming to the steps of creating indexes. So you need to have data in the list format. You need to have an embedding function. You need to have the embedding index initiated, search executed on the embedding. So I have missed a couple of points here. So after you initiate the embedding index, you need to enumerate the data and then create the embedding inside the index. So this step I have missed it here, but anyway, so I'll be showing it to you guys. Also, after you initiate and get the embeddings done inside the index, you can actually save it and load it also. I'll be showing that to you. And once that is done, you can query with the SQL format. So this is something that you'll be seeing in this video. When it comes to pipelines, so as I was telling, this is an introduction to building pipelines and workflows in TxtAI. But what I am planning to do is I will introduce what is pipelines in this video and what is workflows, and in the later videos I will try to take up in detail about these pipelines and workflows, because I want you guys to start with something which is very simple and fast to grasp the concepts of TxtAI, and then we can go into these concepts that is a little more complicated, I would say, and also it will require a considerable amount of back and forth of experimenting with various data, various formats that you have got. So let us dive into what are pipelines. So pipelines are basically classes inside TxtAI library. These classes can take the ML models or the artificial intelligence models, and it can create functions out of it. So for an example, we have a question answer model inside Hugging Face. You can pull that in to this TxtAI module and start creating question answer pairs. You can create summarization model. You can pull that in and you can start creating abstractive text summarization by loading the text into this function. This I will be showing a little bit of an example in the next video, where I will be discussing more about how to work with custom SQL functions inside TxtAI. I'll be discussing these concepts there. This is about pipelines. All you need to understand here is that pipelines are kind of functions which take in the ML models. Okay, now comes to workflows. So workflows are made of tasks, and these tasks are made of Python functions or pipelines. So you see, workflows are on top of pipelines in the hierarchy. So workflows will contain tasks, and inside those tasks we can pull in the pipelines that you create, or you can actually create your own functions, lambda Python functions. You will be seeing them a lot in TxtAI. So the creator of TxtAI is really knows how to work with the entire construct of Python, various constructs in Python, and he has used all these constructs to the fullest extent. Understanding tasks, workflows, pipelines, and the functions that is initiated inside the pipelines will take a little bit of a practice if you are not properly exposed to all the constructs inside Python. So that's why I'm not going into that in this video. So get ready for those things. Review your Python earlier theories and start practicing your Python chops. Because if you're going to go into TxtAI, we have to be ready with that. Okay, let's see some action. So as I always say that with my videos, that it is about practicing, and this video is also about working with creating your own indexes, creating your own embedding indexes, and working with it from the SQL point of view. So with that said, let us go to the browser. The notebook that I will be sharing, the GitHub link for the notebook that I will be sharing is already provided here. This is the GitHub page that you will be working with. And if you guys are totally new to artificial intelligence models, LangChain, TxtAI, and various other libraries, I would suggest to take a look at this, learn about AI language models and reinforcement learning. This particular playlist contains almost all the videos that I have made on not just TxtAI, on various other libraries like LangChain, unstructured, and a couple of transformer related libraries also. So to begin with, let us go to the collab notebook. So I have already done the basic setup here. In this case, in this collab notebook, I have already got the studies here. The studies are the React framework.pdf and self-fast PDF. So these are all studies that I collected on the language models and how the research was done on the language models. So you can see that here. Okay, sorry for the disturbance. So here you see that I've already installed TxtAI all. So ensure that you install TxtAI all, because it is going to install all the dependencies that is there with TxtAI. And believe me, there are lots of dependencies for TxtAI. And I am also pulling in LangChain and PyPDF. You will see in a moment why. And I am sending the output to dev null, because if you don't, then you will see that the output actually gets filled here. So that's why I'm sending it to dev null. This I learned it from TxtAI. So I did not know this ahead of time. So here we see that I have pulled in the LangChain text splitter, and also I'm working with PyPDF loader here. The reason is I want to work with PDF documents that I already shared with you guys. And as I told you that we are going to embed the text. And this process where you see that I am taking the LangChain, creating the basic, the embeddings. This particular embeddings is coming from TxtAI. So keep this track of the libraries that I'm using. And here I'm loading the PDFs. And then I am pulling all the text data from the PDF into this PDF_text array or list. And then after that, I again create a recursive character text splitter so that I can further split the text that is already inside the PDF text and then load it into split_data. So this is the data that we are going to do the embedding. In case of creating the embedding is pretty simple in TxtAI. So all you need to do is call this class, embedding class, and you give the path, the full path. This is the full path that we need to give it to the Hugging Face models, and it will create the embeddings for you. And once that is done, what happens is that you can create the index. So in order to create the index, so in case of creating the embedding instance, you have to use the embeddings class. And in order to create the index, that is the index that will store the index is kind of a database. Okay, the index that will store the vector embeddings has to be initiated. So for that, you will be using the index method. So when you are going to use the index method, you are going to give the tuple. So this tuple you have to understand this. So you need to give an UID, you need to give the text, and you need to give this none value. So this none value is kind of a tag that we provide inside the inside the index. So as of now, you don't need to worry about it, but you can. So when you're enumerating it, you can have one more variable that you create and you can feed it here also, but I'm not gonna do that. So this is a basic enumeration task that I'm doing. So enumerate will give me index as well as the text. So index, I am making it as UID and I am sending it into okay, so there are two indexes here. So the index that I am going to use it for embedding is different, and the index that I am talking here is the index for the list, Python list. Okay, so following up these terminologies between various concepts in Python is going to be a little bit challenging, but do practice it. That is why I insist that if you guys practice it, it will be much more easier for you to understand what is going on. Initially also I actually faced these problems, but ensure that you practice. So once you do this is going to take considerable amount of time. So give it sufficient time. And once it is done, then all you need to do is start searching. So it is as simple as that. We see this similar kind of a thing in LangChain also. When you are working with LangChain, you see this, but this was way more abstract in nature for me. And after that, you just give the search with the query and you say, okay, I need one instance. You will get one instance, one match out. If you say I want two instance, you will get two instance. Okay, so in this case, I see that the embedding is not properly initiated. So let me give a run again. Just give me a moment. Let me start the process, because I remember that I had I think I have a save here. I will show it to you. So what had happened is, when I was doing the experimenting, I had removed the embedding completely. So let me show you how to load it. So let me get back to this in a moment. So once you do this, the embedding will get completely created. The index will be created and you can save the index. So in case of saving the index, you have to just give the save folder name. So if you see here, you will have an index folder once you save it. And inside the index folder, you will have three files. You will have config, you will have documents, and you will have embeddings. Embeddings is the vector storage. So that is the key vector storage data that you need to take care of. So you see that all these are examples I took from TxtAI itself. This is not created by me. This is all taken from there. So here they show how to look at these files. Okay, what is more important is that how to load the index. So because I already lost the index, right? So now I need to load it. So let me show you that, because that is more important right now. There are two ways. So what I can do is I can use a read index method. So I can say I can initiate phase and I can read the index, and then once I read the index, I can query it manually using the phase process. But I don't want to do that. So if I don't want to do that, then what I can do is I can actually use a different process. So here is the just a minute, I will show it to you guys. So this is so all I need to do is, after I save the index, all I need to do is I have to load the index. So index is the folder name that I already have got here. And after I load the index, if I do a search, what is self-ask with 2, I'll get the value out. So it is as simple as that. And if I say I want 3, then I will get the 3 values out. So this is how the indexing inside TxtAI works. It's pretty intuitive, as I was telling. So this is what I was talking about when I say intuitive. So let us go back to the top. So where is the we create this class, so you can send any other models also here. It's not just you have to use the Hugging Face model. If you are going to use some other model, then there is a way to do that also. So if you take a look at the help or the documentation inside TxtAI, you can actually send OpenAI models also into this. Most important point I wanted to highlight here is that you have to use true, content equal to true. Then only you can store the text inside the embedding indexes. And once you create the embedding, so embedding is an instance of the actual function that is going to tokenize, that is going to create the vector of the text and to you guys, correct? After that, the next step is, what is the next step? Logical next step. We have to create a place where to store the vectors. So in case of TxtAI embeddings, there is something called as index, which will allow you to store the embedding vectors as well as the ID for that. And then the next step is save. So you can save it, you can load it. So this is all very simply done. And we will see in a moment that how to actually use this to dump the index also. If you want to dump the config file, you can do the dump also, and you can see what are the configuration inside that. So in case of face, there is something called as the face also needs to be given some kind of a indexing process. So I'm not actually going into the details of how the face is getting indexed, because that is more involved process. But the component that is getting created is ID map and flat. So there is a way to create the index. The index type that is getting created is flat. So there is flat IVF also that you will be seeing into coming into near future. And if you want to use the other methods, other objects to be also included into TxtAI, that is also possible here. So what we are right now doing here is that we can actually create a SQLite database itself by using the embedding, and we can start reading we can start pushing the data into the SQLite database and start reading from there. So this is what you are seeing here. So the text that we are having, the tags, the entry, the ID, so all these things we actually created inside the index. And then we are creating the SQLite database by using index.documents, and we are trying to read it. So this is an example that TxtAI guys showed me. The point here is that we may not be using this in real life, okay, but there is a way. So in case of I said it wrongly, we can actually use this in real life. So you can actually create SQLite 3 database, and you can push those documents, those embeddings into those database and start querying the database directly. But actually you don't need it. So there is an easier way for it. So what I'm going to do is in the next video. So this video I'm going to keep it short so that you can actually understand what is going on. And most importantly, you can try to practice with this basic step of creating the embedding, creating the index, and saving it, reloading it, working with your own documents, and see how it works out. You can also work with this last step, where this is an example that is again provided by TxtAI guys, where you actually provide the text. So you see this. So when you are going to upsert, so you can upsert the data also into the embeddings. So you are going to give the UID, that is TxtAI, and the text data can have multiple information. So let us go back up here. So what I am talking here is that, here. So you see this UID, text, and none. So this text can be dictionary also, and this UID can be anything that you are going to provide. It's not that it has to be numbers. So keep this in mind when you are working with TxtAI, because TxtAI is very flexible in that sense. So here you see the text, the data that is getting pulled in, and the data. And the data that you are going to pull in is actually a image. It's a GIF image, GIF image that you are going to pull in from the internet, and then we are going to read it here. So let me execute this, and I can show it to you guys also. And this is, so that will take it has already done. So you see this here. So you see the this is the text, the data is the text that is getting created, and this is the size of the GIF image that is getting stored to you and shown to you guys. Okay, now comes the important part. So I was telling that it will create the SQL RDBMS style embedding, right? So this is what I was talking about. So I'll be going in detail in the next video about these SQL related stuff, but you can see it here that I'm saying select star from authors. Okay, authors is the table inside the index, where similarity is making models to generate. So this is the query that I'm using, and then you get the output here. And this is what I was talking about. So you can use select clauses inside the embedding.search, and you can get the output like as if you are going to query the SQL database. So this is what I was talking about. I'll be diving deeper into this in the next video. With that said, I hope that you guys like this video, and do share it with others. Subscribe to my channel so that further updates on TxtAI, unstructured, and various other libraries related to large language models, NLP, and Python, overall Python ecosystem will be shared with you guys. And once the videos get uploaded, once you subscribe, the updates will directly hit your YouTube dashboard. With that said, I would like to leave with 4 words as usual. That is, this time it is going to be practice, 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 practice. See you guys and have a great time.